Wake Forest Institute. Okay, let's do it again. Hi, good afternoon. I want to welcome everyone to this informational session of the Wake Forest Institute for Regenerative Medicine for our annual Summer Scholars Program. My name is Joan Schenk, and I am the Chief Educational Program Officer at Wake Forest, and I'm going to refer to the Institute as WFIRM. That's how we all refer to it, and it's less of a mouthful. Today, let me introduce you to some of the other folks who run the program, but it's early in the application process, and I'm really impressed with a lot of the people that are already reaching out. We like to conduct these informational sessions to provide you some information about the program, just an overview of what's involved, an opportunity for you to ask any questions about the application, aspects of the program, the research, the institute, our team that leads it, as well as we always incorporate in these info sessions, and I'll let my two great team members who also work with the program introduce themselves before we get started. But we also have three of our former summer scholars who participated last year that after we go through kind of the nuts and bolts of the program, are also going to interact with you. So we're really very happy that they're here. Roma Desai, Samantha McNabb, and Mackenzie Paul, who will talk about their experience and their research, and you can ask them questions as well. We do ask if you mute, because we all have busy lives. Some of us, not mute yourself, just your microphone. However, in the Q&A session, we'd love to hear from you and have you introduce yourself. We have more people than can do introductions right now. We want to get to what's involved in the program. But when you ask questions or maybe introduce yourself, that would be really lovely. And I'm going to apologize in advance. I am not inside of a 3D bioprinter. I'm just pretending to be. I am today joining you remotely from my home, and this tends to be the time of day I get some deliveries. My partner works with medical devices, and they're always dropping off this time of day. I have a very happy little dog that goes crazy, so I apologize in advance if I have interruptions about that. Carrie and Brandon, please introduce yourself.
Okay. Hello, everyone. It's good to see you. I'm Carrie Adams, and I've been with WFIRM for almost 3 years now in the education program with Joan. My specialty is not science. I'm an educator by training, really focusing on curriculum and development of different programs, first for Wake Forest Medical School, and now working in that a little bit with WFIRM, but always supportive of our programs, especially our undergrads summer scholars program. We have a special place for that. We love it so much. So I'm always excited when we begin to gear up for that. So you can always reach out to me. You've seen my email come across as I've reminded you about things in the handshake application. So if you find that you need to ask me questions after today, you're always welcome to do that.
Thank you, Carrie.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Brandon Rains. I'm the Education and Outreach Coordinator here at WFIRM. I have been here, I think it's my 4th week, so almost a month now. Loving it so far. Getting to support Joan and Carrie, putting on these educational programs. So really looking forward to meeting everyone and continuing to do great work. So thank you.
Thank you, Brandon. Appreciate it. So again, I'm Joan Schenk. Just to give you some context, my background is in policy. But what is most relevant for you all is that it's been very exciting for me. You're all young, and I've been around this field now for 26 years, and it first was coined as tissue engineering. And that's a longer period of time than probably most all of you are aged. And it's been a real exciting journey to be able to see things move from from basic research into translation and now successfully going into patients, and then also moving toward scale up in manufacturing. And so I've been working with people to run educational programs for a really very long time. And the institute to which you're applying is one of the leading institutes in the world in RegMed. So when you come here, we have nearly 500 personnel and collaborations all over the world. So upon acceptance, you would be interacting with an assigned faculty member and just lots of access to many resources. But let's get going about this very specific program, a 10-week program in undergraduate research. And it is, all the projects are focused on translation. So these are the people. The applications open very soon, November 15th, but the deadline is January 15th. So you have plenty of time to prepare a highly competitive application. Okay, a little bit about WFIRM. I've already mentioned, very large institute, a lot of areas. I don't know if any of you are already involved in regenerative medicine research. I suspect some of you may be. Many of our students that apply are exposed to in the classroom or in research projects to regenerative medicine. One thing that is unique about the Institute is that we're not a virtual institute. What I mean by virtual, I don't mean this kind of environment. I mean everything is under one roof. So that frequently many academic institutes may have a bioengineering department that are doing some things more in the engineering area of the field, and then you might have another area doing more of the cell biology, et cetera. Everything is under one roof. There is no independent PI labs of this very, very large team. The labs are open. And if you may be working in, in gene therapy or some specific area like that, because these projects are interdisciplinary, you will have access, and the students that are here in this Zoom session can attest to that. And it makes for a very exciting environment, and we believe it really spurs on innovation. So our mission at the end of the day, the research projects that are available, again, are translational, and that is tied to our mission, which is to improve patients' lives through regenerative medicine. That's our endpoint. And again, I already mentioned, we're a global institute. We have partnerships with all of the major institutes across the globe that are doing significant things in the field. And our core values are listed here. Our mission is supported by a variety of key objectives. 4 key objectives I already mentioned. We're multidisciplinary, we're international, we do team science. Our area here it's key, train and education. So this program at WFIRM that you're applying to in undergraduate research has been an active program since inception. And what is also pretty significant for some of you who may be thinking of, it's been consistently funded and recognized by National Institutes of Health, National Science Foundation, Department of Defense. And if you're looking at programs, that really speaks to the prominence of the research. Again, we accelerate clinical translation. So maybe you're just here for 10 weeks, but the work that you do is really part of a much bigger picture, and that is to get it into patients. And we're also interested in serving as a magnet for collaboration. So if you come here, you're going to see people from industry, from government. They're in and out of the doors all the time because all of these entities need to work together to get RegMed products and therapies moving. So that's us in a real quick nutshell. And so, obviously we're in the education and training section, and we do all types of things in various cores, and it's all designed so we have next generation talent who can work with us to drive this field. Undergraduate research, oh, this is just lots of little scholarly stuff, which is critically important, but it's just the value. Many of you are in your academic institute. Some students that apply, when they come here, it may be the very first time that they've really been involved in research outside of the classroom. And they may be some of the students who have been engaged in research before. We seek to involve all types of students. The first time, the second time, the third time, it is a key element of your training. And so we support that. Okay, you can check out, this is just a picture of the flyer that you can download from the website, and I'll provide you all of that information. But again, here are the program dates for the 2025 program, May 28th to August 1st. To anticipate a question, if you apply, yes, you are expected to participate in the full program. So keep that in mind as you consider an application. These are the elements, transcripts, letters of recommendation, and the completed application itself. And we'll go into some more details about that, but that's just the quick overview of, the quick stuff that's involved in the application. I referred to, of course, a lot of the students who come to us, they're also thinking in terms of, and that is one motivator for the Summer Scholars Program. We want to help prepare them. Many students are interested in advanced studies in the field at the graduate level, whether it be a PhD, a master's, or an MD. So we provide training in all of those areas. This particular program, of course, is the undergraduate and the workforce development. For over 2 decades now, the Institute has been training all types of students in all of those cores, well over 7,000. So I think we kind of know what we're doing by now, but we are ever, ever, ever enthusiastic about what students bring, and ever appreciate and understand the value that they bring for innovation and creativity and new ideas. So the program itself, just to give you a little bit of insight into the numbers through this competitive program and what the outcomes are. It is team-mentored research that they're involved in. Again, the program has been active since inception. Actually, the Institute, I'm getting into too many details, but it emerged in 2004, but we didn't have a formalized undergraduate program at that time. It became formalized in 2007. In that competitive program, 327 students have run through. And for 2025, we expect that we're going to have about 24 to 26 positions. We typically have about 400 applications. That doesn't include those that are incomplete or not incomplete. However, last year we had a huge bolus, and we had about 600 inquiries and about 400 something completed applications. It's competitive, but that's great. That should never dissuade you, but that's just kind of giving you an idea of what to anticipate. So to give you some a sense of how this has impacted the students that have participated from that period of time that I referred to, 2007 to 2024, again, 327 participated. From our current tracking, and we continue to track, about 243 have completed their undergraduate training. Others are still in their training. And of that, it kind of shifts all the time, but about 33% are enrolled in MD, rather have enrolled in or completed MD or PhD programs, and about 46% have enrolled in or completed another graduate or PhD program, and about 16% are employed in life sciences. And so many of these students cite that this experience has really impacted their learning in the field, the motivation, and providing them the support and professional development and ongoing mentorship as they continue their career. So about the program. Again, the program dates, May 28th to August 1st. The program involves you in teams. I've said this a couple times, and the students that are here can talk about that as well as Carrie, and Brandon's going to find out more and more about that this coming summer. But you'll have a primary mentor, but you'll have a whole team that supports you, comprised of maybe a co-mentor, maybe a more clinically focused mentor at the clinical center or elsewhere. So we do team research. The program also involves professional development skills, communication, technical, scientific process skills, publications, learning how to write scientific papers. As far as within the program itself, for the 10 weeks, you are provided a stipend, and that's at the $6,000 level. And you are provided housing at the Wake Forest dorms, which are quite lovely. And I think Roma and Samantha and Mackenzie will have some conversation about that. You're all together, and what is really exciting, I feel like, is that the cohort, the students that come in, they develop lifelong friendships, and everything we do is to enhance that cohort experience. Hence, when you stay at the dorm, well, I'm going to save it for them to talk about, but you're living together, you're doing science together, you're socializing together, you're doing crazy things and running around, and enjoying the housing, which is quite lovely, and exploring the region, and many making, friendships for life, and later, many continuing to work together scientifically. I did see I had a quick question, and I in the chat, and let me take a look at what that was. No, Risha, it really is, you have to be able to participate for the full program. We have had some students that have made arrangements to, whether it's their final exams or some things that they can do remotely. We're happy to help you support it, but you do have to be on site and participate for the full program. Okay, so there we go. Applications open November 15th, so you can go in and take a look at what the application looks like. You can download it and keep it and work on it separately. You can save it. You can do all that type of stuff. You can reach out to us as you're completing the application if you have questions, but it opens very soon. The deadline is January 15th. We'd like to do that over holidays, giving you some nice time to work on your application. After the applications come in, the next question is, students always want to know, when am I going to be notified? Well, we try to do it as soon as we can, but it's a pretty intense process to review these applications. But they typically begin, we predict that our firm timeline is to begin February 20th. If we're able to start earlier, terrific, but that's probably where we'll be. Notifications will end March 15th or sooner, and it depends upon how quickly we confirm the cohort. Again, these are the program start and end dates, not in the reverse. Okay, and I invite you to interrupt, Brandon, Carrie, help me here if there are questions in the chat that we should direct answer right away, or also y'all can raise a hand. The room is not all that busy, so I love to hear your voices and see your beautiful faces as well. But let's just go through, how should I respond to the essay questions? Pretty solid here. Answer them separately. Each of the responses are limited to 650 words. Basically, the essays ask about, why you're interested. And I would just encourage you, even in this information session, I know many students apply to multiple programs, but boilerplates, that you're interested in biotechnology or research would probably be more compelling if you really expressed your enthusiasm for regenerative medicine research. So whatever that is, because we do just about everything. I mean, maybe you heard or have done some type of research in the field, in gene therapy or stem cells or skin or the technologies, but it's nice if we understand what your specific interest is, because it also helps us make a match for you. Other areas will ask you what your lab experience is, and I'm forgetting, okay, other interests, pretty solid like other applications. Are letters of recommendations or transcripts required? Yes, absolutely. And we have to receive those by the deadline date. They will not be accepted after the deadline date. Doing so would just slow down the review and notification to y'all. So that's, you need to make sure that you get those to us. But those of you who are already attending this, info session now, you're ahead of the curve. Who should write your letter of recommendation? It could be written by a professor related to your major, somebody that you've conducted research with. You're at all different levels. Frequently, the cohorts that come in, you might be a freshman, you might be a senior. We accept applications, and we like to have a cohort that is, includes all rankings of students. You all lift each other up. You're all at different points. So your letter of recommendation should, if you're a freshman and you really haven't had hands-on research experience, then you're not going to have a letter from a researcher. But maybe you can get one from one of your professors that also can speak to your ability to work in a team, your budding scientific process skills, your knowledge level, that, and all the things that are here. And these FAQs, they're also on our website. These tips remain on the website, and this will be recorded and we'll post it. How should you submit your letters of recommendation and transcripts? You can email them. I really think it's best if you email them. Absolutely. But some of the people that may write your letters of recommendation may prefer to postal mail them. And so you just want to give them ample time to be able to do so for both your transcripts and for those who write your letter of recommendation. And that's just a tip for those who write your asking for a letter of recommendation. I get requests to write letters of recommendation all the time, and I very much am committed to doing that, but it is very challenging when I receive a request a couple days before an application deadline. Don't do that. Please don't do that. So it's not a good strategy. So start thinking of it. The transcripts, frequently the systems have to send them directly to an email address. So either Summer Scholars, Brandon and Carrie, and myself can also supply their information. And on your end, that will all be confirmed. So you don't have to chase it down because it will be confirmed that it's received. Because we do hear from students that, hey, you haven't downloaded the transcript. So I know you have access to that. We've already covered that. Will you be penalized if it's late? You're not going to be penalized, but your application is not going to be reviewed. And so that's not a happy situation.
Joan,
yes?
If it's okay, there are a couple more questions that would fit
go for it. Let's go for the
so
questions.
I just want to bring it up. There's just 3 different ones. I've answered a couple, but I wanted your input on one of them. The first question was about an application fee. So do you want to address that?
There's no application fee.
The second question was about this recording being sent, but I advised that we'd probably post it on the website because of the size of the file.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And then the other question is a good one, and it is, do letters of recommendation have to be sent by the author, or are we, meaning prospective students, in charge of forwarding that to the email? Yes.
Great question. Great question. The letters of recommendation must come from the individual who pens it. Thank you. Thank you for that. Okay. Can you email a hard copy of the application? No, you have to do the online application that will be available on the 15th online at the website. And Carrie or Brandon, if you want to put that link in the website again, But again, the transcripts and the letters of recommendation can be postal or emailed. Do you have to be a U.S. citizen to apply? You do not have to be a U.S. citizen to apply. However, you do have to be an international student who is pursuing their undergraduate at a U.S. institution, and you have to have your J1 or F1 visa. If you got that, you're good to apply. Do you have to be enrolled in college? Yes. Age restrictions, you have to be 18 before the start date of the program. All right, so a little bit about last year, looking backward to look forward. So happy times here. I just know Roma and Samantha and Mackenzie are going to love a couple of these photos. This is final research day and so much going on there. And this is the list of the 26 students. So you'll see that they come from us all over the U.S. In the life sciences and in the physical sciences. The field is interdisciplinary. So, we take students from all of the STEM fields. And this is a quick list of all of our mentors. Again, you can go on the website, and particularly even if sometimes a little tip writing your interest statement, you find somebody maybe, who's, shy soccer, who's doing some of the organoid work for applications and oncology, and that's something that really speaks to you. Maybe you put that in your, it always has to be authentic. What jumps out at you, because we want to know why you want to be here at this institute. So on the website, check out the faculty. Navigating the website, in my opinion, is not always the best, but we're tied to this medical center and we have to follow what they do. So if you have problems finding anything, reach out, but you're just going to view leadership, faculty, and yada, yada. So these are the faculty that participated last year, but we have many more than this. Quick list of the projects from last year, and you'll see that the categories were stem cells, organoid work, things for drug screening, a vast array of enabling technologies, gene therapy, and tissue engineering. And so these are the projects of our 26. And I can have Carrie compress and send Carrie and Brandon the PowerPoint if you like. There's nothing, so long as when Roma and Samantha and Mackenzie, if it's okay with them, then it's okay with me. All right. Again, as I said, this is the link on the website. You can learn more about them. These are, some of our faculty here, all of which participated in the program last year. So you'll see their research interests, their profiles, all kind of groovy things about them. And once again, I started out by saying we're not a virtual institute. We're very large. And that's because it really takes an incredibly large team from various disciplines to get us to creating these biological substitutes. And I've talked enough. I'm already bored with myself. So I would like to introduce you to some of our former scholars, Roma, Samantha, and Mackenzie. I'm going to let them talk about their own project. I don't need to even say one of these words because they will. So we're just going to go in order here. They're all online, and they were lovely enough to also, I didn't give them a lot of time, so bad on me, to put together a slide or two as they introduce themselves. And first is Roma. Roma?
Hi, I'm Roma, and I'm currently a sophomore at Johns Hopkins, majoring in biomedical engineering. And this summer, I had the pleasure to work with Dr. Grasa Almeida Parada in the joint Almeida Parada lab. So my mentor was Sarah Walkman, and I worked on studying the efficiency of AAV gene transduction in liver organoids or hepatocytes. So my project was to run one experiment. It took approximately like 2 to 3 weeks from the start of seeding to collecting data and analyzing data. And I learned so many unique and new techniques through this experience that I'm actually applying in lab here at my home institution. So it was a wonderful experience. Not only did I learn imaging techniques and cell or tissue engineering techniques, I also, through various throughout the program, we have speakers come in, and I had the opportunity to learn about scientific research apart from my project. So there was a lot of career development opportunities and just in general learning about my peers' projects as well. So the experience was very eye-opening and I'm very grateful for it. But again, apart from the science, it was also a community building experience. So one of my roommates is also on this call, Mackenzie, and this experience, you are staying with your roommates throughout the whole summer. So you build this bond, you grow really close, especially with those in your lab as well. So because I was part of a joint lab, there was another summer scholar who was also working in a similar lab as me. So we grew close throughout the whole experience. And whether it be going and getting lunch at Cranky's, which if you are part of the program, you will definitely learn what Cranky's is by the end. So whether it was getting lunch at Cranky's or a fun weekend outing, it was a very fulfilling time, and I wouldn't change anything for the summer. And lastly, this whole experience was really great because it prepared me for what's to come in the future. This past month, actually, I had the opportunity to present at the Biomedical Engineering Society conference here in Baltimore, and I was presenting the work from this summer. And it was a great time to receive feedback on the work I did this summer, but also meet new professionals. And there is one conference that is open to all summer scholars. It takes part in, it was during, I think, the second week of June. It's the RME conference. And I think it's called the Regenerative Medicine Essentials course. I might be wrong. Feel free
You're
to.
right.
Okay. And there were a lot of speakers that were brought in. One of the most notable ones to me, which I was really excited to hear from, was Dr. Ellis Dief, who I have a picture with in the bottom right. And I had actually read about her. She's a faculty at Hopkins in the BME department, and I had read about her research. So the moment that I saw on the agenda that she was coming and speaking to us, I was absolutely thrilled. So this is just to show that this program isn't just doing research. It isn't simply going in 8 to 5 doing lab work, but it's a lot more. It's being part of a community that we're still in touch even till this day, and it's also building your getting a better understanding of what your career would look like through all the very renowned speakers that we have an opportunity to hear from and also interact with. So that's about it from me, but thank you, Joan, for having me, and feel free to ask me questions.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Roma, for joining us. And yeah, Roma referred to the BMES conference, and, we quickly went over it, but, we support and encourage our students to submit abstracts to attend meetings, and some students, will have co-author on papers contributing what they did in the 10 weeks. So lots of opportunities. And what Roma also referred to, that's a separate area of the website, maybe Carrie or Brandon can put that in the chat. But the Regenerative Medicine Essentials course is what Roma referred to. And that is the foundational course for you to appreciate everything that's involved. It's about a 2.5-day piece, and it's at the beginning, and it really provides everything that you need to know about what's involved in translational reg med. But the really, really cool thing is you will not have another opportunity. This is not WFIRM people. This is a big meeting. Your students and other people come in. So you see leaders working in all these areas from across the globe, from NIH, from academic institutes everywhere, from leadership to entrepreneurs who set up companies. And it's just really structured, and I feel like an easy way to access so it's not so overwhelming. And at this event, these people all love students. So last year, we really encouraged our scholars. Thank you, Karen. Ask questions. It is an opportunity, so we help you with all that. Don't be shy. it's all about you when you're here, and we want to make sure that you have everything. So let's move on. Roma, hang in there, and happy to introduce you to Samantha.
Hello, my name's Sam. I'm currently a senior bioengineering major at Clemson University, so we're almost done with undergrad. Super bittersweet, but excited to move on to the next step. I came into the program with a love for cardiovascular applications to regenerative medicine, and I do a lot of cardiac bioprinting at Clemson. So I was really excited when my project this past summer was also a very similar project, and I got to work under two amazing mentors, Dr. Joshua Maxwell and Dr. Songjin Lee. Dr. Maxwell kind of focused on the cardiovascular side of everything, and then Dr. Lee focused on the bioprinting aspect. So it's nice to have two experts in both of my interests to kind of ask them questions more about the field. But you can see a little picture of me in my super official lab coat and badge that we scanned into WFIRM every day. Sent that picture to my mom, so it was really exciting. And you can also see the final patches that I printed. But moving on to kind of like why WFIRM was just such an amazing experience for me. It was it wasn't my first research experience, but I think it was one of my most meaningful just because of the professional development aspect. Like we were talking about, the RME course was amazing, 3-day course, and I got to learn everything from what's happening in research, what's happening in the clinical area with like translation to bench to bedside, and also even what's happening in Winston-Salem with all of the development that's gonna be happening. I was talking with Joan about that before, so that's all really exciting. And then you can see in the bottom left, there's everyone in my lab, and in the gray in between Dr. Maxwell and Caleb, our PhD student that we worked closely with was another summer scholar, Megan. She was my roommate, love her so much. We worked together in the Maxwell lab, and we were just together constantly, so that was great. But the best part about the program to me, obviously the research was amazing, but my cohort was just like the most amazing people that I could have asked for. We organized so many different little excursions when we weren't in the lab. We organized a little trip to Charleston. We tried so many new restaurants. Cranky's is a really big one. So thank you, Roma, for mentioning that. And then we also played soccer like constantly. And you can see a big picture of us in the bottom, getting together to do that. But I know that years and years from now that I am so excited to reconnect with all of these people at different conferences. And my next step next year, this weekend, I'm submitting all of my PhD applications. So yay, that's super exciting. And I hope to be back at WFIRM next year. That's my top one right now because of this program. And I think that the mentors really make everything worth it because I had two amazing mentors that I really hope I get to continue with next year. But yeah.
Oh, thank you. I'll give each of you your payment for this endowment after we're done. Oops. No, no. All right. Okay, Mackenzie.
Hi guys. My name is Mackenzie Paul, and I am a junior at Miami University in Ohio, and I'm also from Ohio. I'm a biochemistry major with minors in molecular bio and geography, and I'm pre-med, but I'm pre-med pretty much only in name, because I do have the co-major, but I'm more interested in pursuing a PhD, which is a decision I came to mostly because of my time in this program. So very grateful for that because I spent a lot of my undergraduate career wondering what I was going to do. I am involved at research here at Miami. My lab is in the chemistry department, but we do biomedical research and we explore the effect that gut microbes can have on the development of type 1 diabetes. That's a mistype on my part. Sorry. And then outside of research, I'm involved in a couple other clubs and I love to write and read and play soccer. So that was great for this summer.
Super duper.
And then I have another slide too.
Oops, sorry. That was okay. There we go. Oh wow,
So,
look at the pool.
yes, that was our pool at the apartment complex. But while I was at WFIRM, I worked with my PI, Dr. Baisong Liu, and my mentor, Pin.
And we worked on developing a mouse model of dent disease, which is a rare kidney disease. And we explored gene therapy for treatment of that disease. And so, as Roma and Sam talked about, we all attended RME and we got to hear from so many professors and professionals from so many different institutions. And so that was really cool because a lot of times we as undergrads come in and we don't know a whole lot about regenerative medicine. And so now we get to see how wide does this field span and how are we playing a part in it. And we were able to network with various staff at WFIRM and at Wake Forest in general. WFIRM's what they call an open lab. So we could just walk all over and talk to the other summer scholars and ask them, what are we doing? I didn't work with organoids, but other people were, and I got to see them do that. And I got to see my roommates count cells and intestines and just so many cool things. And then my project was funded in part by the NIDDK. And so I went with about 7 other scholars and presented again at the University of Virginia at the end of the program. So that was really cool too, because then you're interacting with students from the Mayo Clinic and students from Harvard and just all over the country that had similar research projects. Um, and then just echoing what Roma and Sam said, we were so, so lucky, and I'm so, so grateful to have had every single person that we spent the summer with. We were together all the time. I loved my roommates and everyone that we hung out with. We have a big 20, 26, 25 person group chat that we text in probably weekly. So you absolutely, they make it feel like home, even if you're super far away. So definitely very grateful for the experiment professionally and personally.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And, just to and now let's have some time with Q&A, and you can put it in the chat. And if Carrie or Brandon want to bring any particular ones that to my attention, please do. But let me also say outside the students, and that's why we do this. The students really, we hear from the faculty all the time. You're being guided by mentors who have years of experience, from the scientific process aspect to the technologies and skills that you need. But your intellect, your curiosity, your energy, your commitment, it's all part of the recipe as well. And in my belief, and in continuing a robust research arena that will continue, because no joke, we need future talent, and we need enthusiastic and committed. And so enough said on that. Any questions? And please, if you verbalize it, which I'd love for you to do, introduce yourself, please. Gonna have to go get my dog.
Hi, I just wanted to confirm something really quickly. I'm Ari.
Sure.
I'm a sophomore bioengineering major at the University of New Hampshire. About the recommendation letters again, you said it had to be submitted by us, the applicants.
No. Your recommendation letter should be sent by the individual who writes it, and they
Okay.
may either postal mail it or email it. And to be quite frank, it's a little suspect if I send my recommendation letter signed by Dr. Atala to somebody who I'm submitting a job application to, which I'm not doing, by the way. But anybody will look at that at askance. So even, and that doesn't mean it is, because you might have a professor that says, "Here it is, send it." So that's a good question, but say no. Can you please send it? So give them the postal mailing address and the email address. We'll accept it either way. Good
Great,
question.
thank you.
Anyone else? Anything? I saw one about the stipend. So the stipend is typically provided in 2 installments, one midway in the program and one at the end. And most all of us at WFIRM were paid monthly. So you're hooking into a bigger system. Now, this is the practicality of life. So, I mean, I know everybody has to pay for things, so with your parents, etc., they're going to ask questions. But yes, you're paid. You're not going to get that first installment until after midway.
I see a question in the chat for the other summer scholars. I'll just read it out loud in case people can't see it. Do you have any tips for the application? Were there certain topics, experiences that you focused on or highlighted? I think my perspective, I had only had one real research experience before going into this program, and it was literally just maybe a semester before, not even a full semester of experience. So I kind of touched on what I had been doing, and a majority of my application was why I was so interested in the regenerative medicine field, what got me interested. I wrote like argumentative debate paper about stem cells in high school, and ever since then I had been hooked. So that was kind of the thing that I focused on. And I'm also really interested in the cardiovascular field just because of family history. So that's kind of what I focused on the most.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
I
Thank
can
you.
answer that too. To be completely honest, I did not really know what regenerative medicine was before I applied. But once I did know what it was, I realized that I had already experienced it or rather the lack thereof of it, because I had ACL surgery my senior year of high school. And so I talked about how, because there is not currently a real solution for regeneration of ACLs, they use other parts of your body or a donor to fix that ACL. And so I wrote about that in my application, that kind of personal connection. And then about a week after the summer scholar program started, my mom tore her ACL. And so all of a sudden I had this double personal connection that became even more meaningful to me. So there's always kind of a connection that you have to regenerative medicine, even if you don't know it yet. So I would say that would be a great thing to touch on if you can find that.
And I had a hand up, and now I don't see the hand. I think it was Undrel.
Yeah. Well, I had a question, but now I just realized that it might not be related anymore.
You sure?
Well, I was going to ask about what I saw on the website about like bringing your own car and stuff. So I was worried about that.
Yeah,
Like, is
that's
it
all
like,
related. And we'll take, any question if it's not relevant, we'll tell you, and that's not a bad thing. It's just that it wouldn't be relevant. But yes, I mean, the dorms are Winston-Salem isn't a large city, but the campus, so the School of Medicine and the research facilities are in downtown Winston-Salem. The undergraduate institute, the dorms that you stay at, are on Renolda campus. That's probably about 3 miles. There is a shuttle that does run, but it doesn't run 24/7. So what we do, this has been going on forever. Many students would bring their car anyway. Not many, some, because they want to do whatever they want. And if they have access, they'll bring it with them. But many students don't as well. I think the 3 scholars here described how they just kind of coalesced as a cohort. And truly, I've been doing these programs with students for years and years and years. And this happens all the time. But what happens is you're together, and so there's a lot of ride sharing that happens. So what we typically do, the cohort comes in, we just communicate them. Do you have a car? Are you willing to ride share? Because you'll have a Google sheet, or, well, we can't use Google anymore. But you'll have some kind of sign up that you can start interacting once selected, and you can talk about if you have a car, and people will say if they're willing to ride share. I mean, you're all coming to the Institute every day. So it's not like you're going to a different place. And there is a shuttle as well. So, and I see, does that help? Anything else? Great. Bronwyn Parks, you have a question?
Hi, yeah, my name is Bronwyn. I'm at Cornell, and I'm studying chemistry and biology. So my hometown's Winston-Salem, so I run and wake all the time. I'm a runner, and so I was looking to come home this summer. So when I found this program, obviously I was really excited. So my question was kind of like, I will be living about 5 minutes away from my house. Like, what are the hours that like you'd be working and like researching, and like what are the policies for maybe me going home for a weekend or something like that?
Great, great, great question. So those are because you have two great questions there. The hours. Typically, it's 8 to 5. It's typically 8 hours a day. Science research doesn't sleep. So in the beginning, there may be, you're not really deep, deep, deep into your project. Later, you might be waiting for cell proliferation, whatever. So you might be there more hours. And at that point, hopefully, and our three folks here can speak to it, you like are excited. You want to get that freaking data and you want to wrap this up so you're there. The Institute is open 24 hours. Again, typically 8 to 5. You will coordinate that with your faculty mentor, but plan on 8 to 5, 9, something like that. And your research faculty mentor, we have a schedule for the program that fits within those timelines of seminars and special activities. Each of those are about 45 minutes an hour. And then your faculty, how research is done, how you check in with your team, you also have your mentor's weekly research meeting that you'll attend. So you'll iron all that out, with your faculty mentor. And now I'm blanking on what was your second. Oh, living at home. If you're in the region, we have had students, that's up to you. We have had students in the region that even their home might be closer. They might live downtown than staying on Renaulta campus. That's totally fine. But the one thing is and then we get the other question, do we then get the housing stipend? No, it's exclusive to the Wake Forest dorms. If you live in the region, we sometimes have students from Greensboro, et cetera, and you want to commute, so long as you meet the program requirements, that's fine. Some students have family obligations, whatever it is, that's fine. But yeah, you can absolutely do that.
Thank you
But
so
you do
much.
miss the cohort experience, so I do encourage, because there's a lot. I mean, Roma, Samantha, and Mackenzie can attest to that. But that just means, yeah.
Oh, I could also speak to that. I'm from Greensboro, so I'm also quite local. I ended up deciding to stay there. I stayed there during the week, and weekends I would go home sometimes. And I think that was like a good combination. I would definitely recommend if there's an option. I honestly am really happy I decided to stay with the cohort because I got to meet my roommates, and I think I bonded with all of them a lot more than I would have if I would have gone home every day. So that's one thing I would say. Another thing about like the time commitment, it definitely is like 8 to 5 every day. And some days I do remember like going till like 9 p.m. I remember there were some students, even like not to scare anyone, but like I remember Carlos was there till like 9 or 10 some days.
Yeah.
Or even Alana. But I just remember that from like the area I was from, or the area in the lab I was from. But I do remember like some days I went, like I would stay there till 9, or I'd go in on the weekends. It really depends on your project, and you're working with cells. Even here, like at Hopkins, my lab, I go in on the weekends. So that is something that is there, but it's also really fun and really exciting when you get your results. And for me, it was like working to get those results, and it was really, really fun at the end when I got to see the or I guess I got to the end goal. So I would say that. But again, you can go home, I guess. I did on the weekends, but it was a good experience to stay with the cohort.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. So would I be able to like, as you said, go home on the weekends and like maybe stay in the dorms for the weekdays and then just
Yeah,
stay at home Saturday? Okay, yeah, cool.
that's
I
what I
probably would
did.
do
I
that.
mean,
Yeah.
I don't think
Thank you
things
so
have changed,
much. Yeah.
but yeah.
Joan,
Yes.
we have a couple more questions in the chat that I thought I would just
Sure.
raise to the group. One is about, but we've actually had a couple people curious about how research projects are allocated out and how mentors are chosen. And then the other questions have been about housing, how many are in an apartment, and how we split, like gender split for housing.
Yeah.
So those are the questions.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, let's do the research one first. So in the application, you're going to see that there is a, you'll list what areas you're interested in the most in a very kind of generic way, like enabling technologies, drug discovery, tissue engineering, gene therapy, etc. But let's go back to the essay question, because this is important no matter what program you're applying to. If you're applying to this program or, a program in rehabilitation and research or whatever it is, you always, or applying for a job, investigate what is going on at that institute. Tie it into, and I think if you didn't have prior research, it was Samantha, right? No, it wasn't Samantha. Who said they didn't? Mackenzie didn't have prior research. Yeah, okay. Talk about whether it's somebody that's been impacted by your family, some sort of investigative, your passion for knowledge, for research, for something that's going to impact somebody, and whatever you know about regenerative medicine, whether it's in an ACL or that's doing something and you'd like to do more. And then you can go into the faculty where that's their interest. And many of our students do have, so that would have been Mackenzie, Samantha, who was interested in cardiovascular stuff. Well, we have people, Josh, that are doing that type of work. So whatever it is, and you can reach out and ask if you're on target, but why do you want to come here? Whatever you know about the Institute, it's translational. I can do stuff from start to finish, but I encourage anybody in any application you send, because quite frankly, the ones that are going to be pitched out right away is if they say something like, this is a really good opportunity for me to boost my application to a PhD program. Like, okay, that's not exciting to me. I mean, I want you to be successful with your application, but I really want to know whatever it is that you know about regenerative medicine. And you could even be wrong. It doesn't matter. You're not doing that research yet. But if you envision the impact that whatever you know about this field, what it can do for sickle cell, because it's a hereditary disease, and you know somebody that's impacted, what it can do to address the lack of lifetime dialysis for kidney disease, and you heard something, be thoughtful about this area. And just be you. Don't make up stuff that isn't you. It always comes through. You can feel it when you're reading it. And as far as the roommates, we actually ask the students. We don't, if you're comfortable, there's 4 in an apartment. If you're comfortable going co-ed, that's up to you. We're not going to make anybody go anywhere where they don't want to go. So we get the cohort, we start asking you, who you want a roommate, and helpfully, because what we'll do is once it's the cohort is established, we'll do a meet y'all Zoom session, and you can start chatting, and you can start chatting offline and get to know one another and figure out who you want to room with. So it sort of happens organically. We don't impose any real strict, you got to go here and there. I certainly don't tell you who to roommate with. And we'll go over 5 minutes, and but you can reach out to us after. You have our contact. Do we have any additional questions?
Yes, I have a question. Yes. My name is Kimberly, and I am from Zimbabwe. And I had a question about the CPT. How would international students be helped during that process?
I don't know what CPT is.
So it's for students who are international, they are not eligible to work in the US without a CPT. And I wasn't sure how that process would work.
Terry Bowen, who is, she's not on this show, so she's our overall administrator and human resources person for the Institute. It wouldn't be considered it would be considered stipend, like to support a student. So you would coordinate that with her. I don't have the acronyms or all the, but I know that so long as you're on a visa, J1, you have the appropriate visa to be there. It's a slightly different pathway for your compensation, but it's worked out. So I hope that addresses. I just don't have the deep knowledge, and I don't.
I actually had reached out to Terry about that same thing earlier in the week, and she said that it may work, but she would have to have that document in hand before the application process began to know for sure. So that would have to be something she would need to see as the students begin turning things in.
Great. So thank you for that, Carrie. So I don't know what the CPT is again, but if it's something different than we've typically done and you have some restrictions, that's a cautious way to do it. So Terry Bowen, maybe if you throw her email contact or send it to Carrie or whoever, since you've already communicated, we'll just socialize that, because we certainly do not want to take somebody's, the application is going to take time to put together a compelling application. It is competitive. Don't ever let that dissuade you. Competition is great, but you don't want to put that time into it if you're not eligible at the end of the day. So just do that in advance.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay, last chance, and then you can email. I always like to try to stay on time here. Any final questions?
I do have a question.
Yes.
One question. My name is Javier. I'm studying biomedical engineering at Case Western Reserve University. Just kind of how do you guys go about training students who haven't really had that research opportunity, and how maybe they haven't even worked in a lab yet? How do you guys go about training them, and how long does that usually take before you can go really full hands-on in the project?
The first week, that's not unusual. We've been doing this for a very long time. And so you're first oriented to the general, you'll go across the general cores with our core technicians and the rest of the technician support. So whether it's histology or cell culture or imaging. And then if you need additional specialized training, maybe a flow cytometer or any of the other equipment, then you are paired with a technician, a member of the research team to do that. We do not, I always love this question because I always think of my darling nephews, who even when they were in middle school and then they went to a high school, they just felt like they had to have such deep training on everything and they were always so worried. We will provide you the support that you need. It's not unusual. That's why we do this. The whole motivation for an undergraduate research is to, you're not everybody's, I guess, a research, but we'll take care of it. And a lot of it's done the first week. But, if you've never used a 3D bioprinter before with a certain application, you're going to continue there's a whole team there. You'll learn more and more and more about the intricacies. But you never, and even folks asked about the hours, which you do not do. And even though we're over, I'll go with this. You do not do anything without instruction, from someone. And we've had so many good stories. I think it's funny by now, but if you stay later, it's on your project and it's working in areas that you've been trained in and you're mentoring your team. No, we're a 24-hour facility. There's pretty much always somebody there in that cavern. But, we only had in one instance, one student who kind of thought the entire labs were playgrounds, here's a jungle gym and I can go wherever. And you cannot, because these are very expensive agents, supplies, equipment, but I'm going well beyond. Javier, you will get the training you need. Don't be intimidated. You can not even have held a pipette and we'll take care of it.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Well, you can reach out to us. I'm going to close it down. And thank everyone, Carrie, Brandon, for putting this together, and Samantha, Mackenzie, and Roma. Love, 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 love seeing you. And yeah, it's been fun.
Thanks for having us back, Joan.
Yeah, thank
Anytime.
you.
Yes, thank you.
Good luck, everyone. Don't ever just apply. Bye.